This past weekend, I saw the new musical biopic Michael, based on the early life and career of the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. I didn't grow up listening to Michael or even really knowing who he was until his death in 2009. So, as someone who's not a super fan, how good of a job does Michael do at showing the life and what the king of pop was like as a person? Before we get started, are you a fan of Michael Jackson's music? And if you haven't yet, are you interested in seeing Michael? Let me know down in the comments below, and let's jump straight into my review of Michael. Starting off with the good, I want to give praise to Giuliano Valdi, who plays the younger version of Michael Jackson. He's not in the movie for that long, but he does an excellent job at portraying what it's like to be pushed to be the best at such a young age by an overbearing father figure who is at times borderline abusive. Giuliano lays the groundwork for a constant throughout the film, which is Michael's isolation and loneliness. His mother even brings it up, saying she wants him to have friends his own age, but he says he's not like normal kids and they all just stare at him, showing that at a young age his star power is already doing him a disservice. The relationship between Michael and his mother is one of the only constant things he has throughout his life, and they portray that really well straight from the start, and it continues throughout the rest of the movie, which is really lovely. You then get Coleman Domingo, who plays Joe Jackson, and whenever he's on screen, you just feel that something bad could potentially happen at any moment. From him whooping his children when they're young, him threatening to whoop them when they're grown adults, to emotional manipulation. Everything he does is for the Jackson family, but it's really just for another way for him to line his pockets. Even when he's not doing anything inherently bad, you can just see the cogs in his head working to see how this can benefit him. And when Michael starts to branch out from his brothers and his control with going solo, Joe's still very controlling, making sure that the brand is the most important thing, and that Michael's solo career is just the cherry on top of the Jackson 5. There's one scene towards the end of the movie where this is perfectly portrayed, right? Not to go into too much detail, but Michael is seriously injured, and all Joe can think about when the doctor comes out to tell his family the condition that he's in is how this will hurt the Jackson brand, the tour that they're supposed to go on, and hurt the money that's going into his pockets. Not even really caring about the well-being of his own son. It's kind of devastating to see a father being so heartless and not even caring about his son. Like, just thinking of him as a cash cow, and the potential that that's run dry because he is potentially not able to perform anymore. You then have Kylan Durrell Jones, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who plays Michael's head of security, Billy Bray. Billy is one of the only other constants in Michael's life who's always looking out for him. He gives him advice when he needs it and isn't afraid to stick up for him when others aren't. Other than his mother, Billy is the only other person who cares about Michael the most, and Kylan does a really good job at portraying that while also being his protector. And last but certainly not least, in the acting department, you have the standout performance of the movie, Jafar Jackson. He, just like Giuliano, transforms into Michael. He never feels like he's doing an imitation of Michael. He is just him for the whole time, and it's great. From the way he talks, the way he dances, his singing style, all the mannerisms from the interviews and music videos that I've seen is downright near perfect. Jafar really brought out how Michael views his own music, that is his calling to bring people together through music, breaking down barriers that keep us all separated, from trying to cool tensions with gang violence to cheering up kids in the hospital. He really just wanted to make the world a better place, and you could see that something very important to him. Michael throughout the movie is doing so much to please his family. You feel the love that he has for them, even at the detriment of his own life and solo career. And it can be very devastating seeing Michael put others always before him, even if they don't deserve it. Now, one of the most important things about a musical biopic is how good the music is. And every song that they chose, from the mega hits like Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean, Bad to ABC, just gets you a good selection of his and the Jackson 5's music. While they're all arguably well known, they show off a good range of style and evolution of Michael's own music. So if you're a fan of his music, just hearing the songs on the big screen is going to make you smile from ear to ear. They don't waste a song slot, and if it's in the movie, there's a good reason for it being here. The production design is well done as well. They do a great job at recreating iconic music videos, the Jackson house. You can tell they took a lot of time and care into getting little details right, and that goes a long way. And finally, the last performance of the movie is just really good. It leaves you on a super high note. The final song that they choose is great, and it just leaves you wanting to listen to Michael's music for the rest of the day. Did its job, wanting the audience members to want more of Michael's life. Moving on to the mixed aspects, one of the first things I noticed was that Janet Jackson just wasn't a character in the movie at all. This doesn't really change the movie at all, and in all honesty, that's probably for the best, seeing how all her brothers, not including Michael, just feel like background characters. I don't think they would have done her any justice. But it's a thing that to wonder why. I assume she just declined being in the movie, and I respect them if that it does end up being the case. Second and last mixed thing is, while all the music choices for the movie are really great, with Thriller you get a recreation of the iconic music video while the song was being played as well towards the end of it. Beat It, you get the start of the choreography and how all that came together, which was super cool to see. You can tell they took a lot of time and care into both those songs and what they meant to Michael's career at the time. But then other songs, you just get a regular performance, which isn't bad, but I think the other songs would have benefited more if they added a little more flair to the performance themselves. The songs are already great, but what's happening around them is just a little bland in comparison to Thriller, Beat It, and Bad when it comes on. I get wanting to make it as close as you can to the real life performances that you're basing them off of, but I think you either could have picked better performances or just spiced up what they were in the movie. Moving on to the bad, the first thing is I think the brothers in this movie are just given nothing to do. They all feel like filler characters just there to give some scenes extra people that some of the audience members might like depending on their enjoyment of the Jackson 5. Now, they do a good job when they're on stage performing as the Jackson 5, but outside of that, they have no personality or any defining characteristics about them. Even their names, they just blend together because of how little they actually get to do in this movie. Now, they could have potentially had a little redeeming for them from the scene later in the movie where Michael is hurt and their father only cares about if he can perform. That's when they could have at least tried to give them some character defining moment where they maybe stick up for Michael or they reprimand their father for how little he cares about Michael other than as a cash cow, but they don't even do that. They're just like the rest of the movie. They just sit there, do nothing quietly in the background. And if you were honestly to get rid of all the adult versions of these characters other than when they're performing as the Jackson 5, nothing would really change in the movie at all. And that kind of sucks. And the last big thing that I really think they could have done a better job at is in the movie, Michael's loneliness and isolation is a big part of it. But other than the feeling you get from Jafar's performance, there's only one scene where he invites his brothers to come hang out with him, play games like they used to when they were kids. But they all have plans for a night, and this bums Michael out. But this is the only time we see any form of Michael or his brothers trying to hang out. I think it would personally help to show that this is a constant thing happening from the rest of his family, and the only one really there for Michael is his mother. Because throughout the movie, you see them bonding together over movies. Even as kids, when Michael says all the other kids just stare at him, you've never shown that. So at the beginning, when there's a montage of the Jackson 5 playing different shows, smaller shows, you could have in that montage Michael trying to interact with other children and them just treating him a little different, making him feel like an outsider. Really starting off in the movie strong with Michael showing that Michael's actually isolated and he's lonely. And the only one who really gets him is his mother. It goes a long way to actually show what you're trying to portray, not just giving through the performance and being told that through context clues. While Michael isn't doing anything to redefine the musical biopic At the end of the day, it's a celebration of Michael and his music. It's an 8 out of 10 for me, and if you're a super fan, you're probably going to love this movie even more than I did. And for people who don't care as much about him or his music, I do still think there's a lot to enjoy and to get. You get a good feeling of what he was like, what his music meant to so many people, and you'll just have a good time listening to the music if anything else. Thank you for watching, and take care.